A Decisive Battle, The Old Men. Story by John Tang. Art by Yoshitaka Amano. Music by Dan TPR. Just let the young ones do it, Strago argued. The blue mage sat down and uncorked the gourd filled with his favorite liquor and indulged, until the chisel end of his aquiline nose grew cherry red and bright as a silk cape. Meanwhile, the old stiff, the Bushido warrior, Cyan, was being his usual self and scaling the walls for a way to penetrate the fortress. But the annoying blonde, King Edgar, had already told them the place was secured with many trick doors and that the other members needed to unlock the gates from the inside. It was just better for them to wait. Maybe just let go, Strago persisted. He always thought 14 members were a crowd anyways. Now that they got the mythical cat Mog and his weird Yeti companion, Umato, on their side, there was no point in having two old men in combat. Sadly, that was the problem with old people. Sometimes they didn't know how to age gracefully. He unsheathed his katana and studied the density of the iron gate. Only the strongest explosives could shake it, but a magical seal seemed to have been placed on it. Sure, Strago sipped his liquor. He accepted whatever gave him less work. On the backside of the cork was a dimple. He poured half an ounce for his friend and invited him for a drink. Do you think it's time to play while the greatest nemesis sits inside the throne? Cyan rebuked. You already destroyed the world, Strago said. Don't misunderstand me, the drunkard said. He was aware that his friend's wrath was justified. Surely, the time in our minds had a different physics from the other world. Over and over, the same sequence of events played in Cyan's thoughts when he was just a commander for Doma Castle, protecting home from the Gestalian invasion. The commander learned that the Gestalian court mage Kefka Palazzo poisoned the castle's water supply. In addition to poisoning his army, Kefka had claimed Cyan's wife and son, Elaine and Owain. What person didn't wish death on their violator? Cyan had even bid his family farewell to the underworld in the Phantom Forest, but in death, goodbyes were a constant. Can vengeance be mine, Strago? You're always welcome to hell, he smiled at him. But aren't you too old for that? But your granddaughter is inside. You weren't going to get pity from an old man like Strago. Of course, the party had the potential to eradicate the worst evil from the world. They had proved it throughout their journey. But nah. Cyan wasn't going to spend a funeral out of the evening. Strago remembered the day he found Realm in his village, Thamusan, when she was still innocent. It wasn't until she was 7 years old that she picked up an attitude from those weirdos. The dragons were especially the most annoying espers with their self-righteousness. She always scolded him for unlawfully using magic in the village. But once, when she poured his liquor in the stream, he wanted to light her on fire. What are you doing, child? My only life source in a bottle. You don't know her, man. Strago swigged 2 ounces from the gourd. She's a brat. Cyan was taken aback. I'm joking, you old stiff. She'll be fine. Her father is inside watching over her. Even the comb mustache couldn't hide the creases forming on the side of Cyan's bony face. He laid his sword on the ground and sat beside the blue mage and took the cork from his hand and downed it. Swiftly, as the spirit disappeared, another ounce appeared in the cork. They reminisce over their long journey across the two worlds, how the reunion made it feel the separation had never happened. As they were about to recall their battle against the behemoths on the floating continent, shadows from the crags protracted into the searchlights. The dead rose from the darkness. Dismembered from the waist down, their rotting corpse floated in the sky. Their flesh melted off their violet bones. Their contorted hands were like claws. The empty wells in their skulls showed no remorse. "We have company." Cyan stood up and unsheathed his sword. Strago leaned the bottle against the sword and blessed the steel with his liquor. The old man had been through this routine before. With some distance, through his lore spells, Strago blew a wild flame and engulfed the blade in fire. The shadows dispersed in the light, and as Cyan cast himself into the army of death, a single stroke disintegrated the flesh into ash, dispatching his enemies one at a time.